Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm doing an unboxing and first look on the Deportis Casanova and GLEZ Mexican-made boxing gloves. So check it out. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here. Today I'm doing an unboxing and first look of the Deportis Casanova Premium and GLEZ authentic Mexican-made boxing gloves. I got a pair of each, both in white and metallic purple, and I believe 16-ounce lace-up. So I'm going to give a big shout out to my good friend Louis, who lives in Mexico, who was able to source these gloves for me. For those of you that are watching that are interested in getting these gloves, you can order these online through social media. Casanova does have an Instagram page where you can reach out to them and request to purchase these gloves. In terms of the actual pricing, I do have it here for those of you that are wondering. Now, keep in mind, I know there's been a lot of kind of changes with the tariffs, international, especially if you're here in the United States and regarding to pricing. But generally speaking, to kind of give you guys the description of the gloves as well as just kind of the overall pricing. So for the GLEZ gloves, you're looking at about 1,800 pesos. Once you convert that over to the US dollar, that is about $91 US dollars, which is a really great price for a Mexican-made glove. If you go with the Casanova Premium, those are 2,100. Now keep in mind, these are both for laces, or for lace-up, should I say. I'm not too sure if a Velcro closure adds to the price, so do keep that in mind. And then shipping was about 1,400 for both of these gloves, 1,400 pesos, which is about 70 US dollars. So obviously shipping is going to be the really costly part because it is coming international. So that's something that you just have to take into consideration when you're buying gloves from overseas, especially from Mexico, the international portion of it. So the premium Casanovas is about 107 US dollars, and the GLEZ are about 91 US dollars. Now that's going to change. Obviously that changes just depending on the exchange rate. So don't hold me to that in terms of being exactly on point with the price. But generally speaking, that's probably what the price is going to be around. And then obviously if you start using more higher end materials, exotic leathers, whatnot, I'm sure the price will go up from that. But that is generally what it costs. And again, if you reach out to Ambar Gonzalez Miranda on Instagram, they can give you kind of the breakdown and details. There's also a lot of photos on their social media that you can see to kind of get an idea of what maybe you would want to order from them. But they are the official Casanova. There was a couple of years ago, there was this big dispute over the name of Casanova being taken here in the United States by a company that is manufacturing the gloves overseas in Pakistan, and they're not the true Mexican-made Casanova. So for those of you that are watching this video, if you want an authentic pair made in Mexico, then you come to the right place. And this is who I would recommend purchasing these gloves from. So let's go ahead and open up this box and take a look at the gloves. These were shipped via FedEx and just came in. Again, I believe I got these in 16. I can't recall. It's either 16 or 14 ounces. I'm pretty sure I got these in 16 ounces. I know I got them in lace-up. I actually posted on my Instagram the other day, kind of hinting to the gloves. But I got them both in white and metallic purple just because I wanted to see how they look compared to each other. From what I take from the way they describe the gloves is there's basically like three levels. So you have kind of the regular entry-level Casanova. Then you have the GLEZ gloves, which are like, I think, mid-tier. And then you have premium Casanova, which is going to be their high-end glove. So let's go ahead and pull this out. So first glove that's coming out is going to be the premium Casanova gloves. That's wrapped in plastic. And the second glove is going to be the GLEZ boxing glove. So that's it. I'm going to go ahead and put these down. Also, before I open these up, I wanted to kind of give you guys a description of the type of padding that these come with before I forget. So The GLEZ is an approved glove to a traditional Casanova glove, but with the same essence. It has 80-20 padding, so 80% natural latex is going to be this glove, and 20% high density foam. The premium that I have here is a totally different glove in structure, and the filling is made up of 2 layers of latex, 1 of foam, plus neoprene glued inside the skin, which gives more comfort to the glove. So, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how these both feel next to each other, and go from there. So let's go ahead and open up the GLEZ first. Plastic open. And see how they look and feel. And there is the left glove. And right off the bat, right when you open the plastic, you have that really strong leather kind of chemical smell. Very similar to a lot of other Mexican-made gloves. So you have that. There's the left glove. And throw that over there, and here is the right glove. Actually, let me put the Casanovas to the side real quick. So here is the right and the left glove, and I did get them in 16 ounces, that's correct. So I know my memory's bad, but not that bad. So these are 16 ounces. You can see that they do have a little bit of a longer cuff, has more of a slender profile and fit when you're looking at it from the outside looking in. The leather on here has very much a satin finish. And it has kind of almost like a waxy feel to it, but it definitely feels premium. Has a nice premium feel. You do have what looks to be like dark purple. I want to say it's dark purple. I'm going colorblind here. Yeah, it's like a really dark purple welted seams on the glove. Again, the purple on here is metallic. So metallic purple and white. You do have GLEZ. GLEZ is actually just a short abbreviation for Gonzalez, for those of you that are wondering. And it's kind of nice in the fact that the actual logo here that says GLEZ is embossed into the actual leather. So it's not just printed, but you can actually feel that the leather, the lettering is kind of raised up a little bit. You also have professional GLEZ, a patch right here on the back of the wrist support. The wrist is a double segmented, so you have a little bit higher segment on the back of the wrist right here, and then just one that's a little bit more narrow, but you do have that GLEZ patch with the weight that is stitched into the side. It says made in Mexico, GLEZ right there. You'll also notice that they have another tag that comes out on the outside seam right here that says Casanova. So just letting you know, like, hey, this is part of the Casanova family. I kind of have a hunch on why they've created GLEZ, is because I think it's kind of like a way they're able to sell their products to here in the United States without having to worry about that whole issue they had with the copyright, the naming issue they had with Casanova, which I don't agree with, obviously, but that's kind of their way around it, and coming out with that brand that's a sub-brand of Casanova. Another kind of cool thing, and I don't think I've ever seen this on any of my gloves in particular, is that it comes with purple laces. So I think that's really cool as well. The laces on here have a little bit more of a thinner, narrow profile, flat, with plastic tips, but it seems to have really good length, not too short. You do have ventilated holes above and below the grip bar, as well as on the inner portion of the thumb. Piping on here is also dark purple, as well as at the base of the thumb. You do have a split colored thumb, so metallic purple at the bottom, white at the top, welted seams throughout, and you also have the attached thumb right there in white leather. Wrist support, you're looking probably about inch, a little over an inch. Again, just like a lot of other Mexican gloves, they put a big, heavy emphasis on wrist padding and wrist support. Essentially, they want you to feel like you're really braced in once you put the gloves on and they're tied up. But you do have that wrist padding all the way up on both sides. The back of the wrist, you're looking at, what's interesting is the inner padding, or the one that's higher, is a little more thick than the bottom. But I'd say you're looking at maybe about half an inch, where this one down here is a little bit thinner, this pad, and you're probably looking at maybe about 1/4 of an inch of padding that is, I'd say, about medium in density. The liner on here is your standard polyester satin liner in black on the inside of the hand compartment. And there's also a tag in here too, which is just your basic warning label, and it does have Casanova on the tag as well, professional, just to let you know that that it is a Casanova product. So you guys can see for yourself, the gloves next to each other, double stitching throughout, welted seams. And yes, of course, I know you guys are going to ask, are you going to review the gloves? Well, duh, that's what I do on this channel. I will be reviewing these gloves eventually once I start training and using them, and then give you guys my review and my thoughts on the gloves. But let me go ahead and undo the laces on the right glove as well. All right, so let me slide my hand in. Let me loosen up the glove a little bit so we can kind of give you guys the initial feel of the gloves. Loosen up the laces a lot. All right, so loosen up the laces. All right, oh, wow, that feels really good. So first things first, for a 16-ounce glove, these definitely feel much more on the compact side, just right off my first initial impression. The other thing that I noticed right off the bat is the thumb piping at the base of the thumb. Definitely feels a little bit more snug and tight, so I'm a little concerned about that, just feeling it right now. I obviously just put the gloves on for the first time, but just me noticing that, I feel like that piping might be a little bit tight, especially once I have hand wraps on and I start training and my hands start to swell up like we all do, especially when you start heating up. I definitely feel like that's going to be a little bit on the tighter side. The thumb position feels great. So in terms of being a nice parallel thumb, good amount of depth. The inner portion of the thumb, the white portion of the thumb right there, it has like a felt liner on the inside for comfort. The back of the thumb, you're looking at about 1 inch of firm density foam padding. You also have a secondary grip bar with felt inside the finger compartment. And I'd say that the gloves are about 80% broken in. You know, there's definitely some more room for it to be a little bit softer in terms of, you know, being broken in. But again, that's going to come with you using the gloves, sweating in them, and, you know, training in your gloves, hitting the bag or whatnot. But they're not stiff by any means, but they're not extra super soft either. And again, that has a lot to do with the foam composition on the inside of the hand compartment. The liner feels good. It is comfortable. I don't feel like there's any excess material. I feel like the finger compartment has a good amount of depth. In terms of the width, I'd say it's a little bit here on the narrow side. So if you have someone that has larger fingers and hands, that might be something that might feel a little bit crowded. But for me, I have medium-sized hands, so it doesn't really bother me. I'd say just from a comfort aspect, the only one thing that concerns me, again, is going to be that base piping at the thumb being a little bit on the tighter side. I wish the opening was a little bit larger so that I had a little bit more breathing room at the base of my thumb. But outside of that, everything else about the glove looks and feels great. Looks really nice. You can see that it seems pretty well balanced. I don't have my scale here with me. Obviously, I'll weigh it when I do a review. But everything here looks really good. Quality looks pretty solid for the most part. You know, once I start using, that's when I can nitpick it more. But overall, they look pretty solid. So those are the GLEZ gloves. So let me go ahead and put those to the side, and let's bust out the Casanova Premiums. So one thing I also just noticed is there's a ton of material that's kind of falling out of the gloves. It's almost like they got done making the gloves and there's a bunch of like, almost like pieces of dust and yarn and stuff kind of falling out of the gloves. I don't know, random thought. Anyhow, let's go ahead and do the Casanova Premiums. So there goes the right glove, and here is the left. Okay, so the Casanova Premiums, first off, these are 16 ounces as well. These definitely have a shorter, more compact profile. So compared to the GLEZ, right off the bat, you can see how much taller, I'll put the base of the piping, the GLEZ are, and the GLEZ has a little bit more of a narrow kind of, you know, a hand position, if you want to call it. One thing you'll notice too is just from the outside looking in is the thumb position. On the GLEZ, looks a little bit more like parallel, where the Casanova has a little bit more of a hooked out, wide turning thumb. I'm kind of curious, obviously when I put the gloves on, I know how they feel. In terms of the leather on the Casanova does seem to be a different, I can't really say different, but it does seem to be a little bit of a different shade of white. And I can't tell if it's thicker or more premium feel, but it definitely does feel a little bit more premium than the GLEZ gloves. The metallic purple is pretty much identical. So that metallic purple leather is the same on both gloves, same color, and just same type of leather. But the white looks pretty close. I feel like the white on the Casanova Premium is a little bit better, or at least they're using some type of other dye to dye the color of the Casanova. Anyhow, so same thing as the other glove. Dark purple welted seams, metallic purple, 16 ounces, white, dark purple piping on the glove. You do have the Deportis Casanova professional made in Mexico square tag on the triple cuff on the back. You also have 16 ounces stitch in there on the side. Nothing that we haven't seen before. And just like the GLEZ, you also have the Casanova tag that they proudly stitch in right there at that welted seam on the outside edge. Again, there's a big emphasis on wrist support with these gloves, where they put about an inch of padding on the inside of the wrist. And again, it's just more or less so that you have kind of like a splinted feel when you have your hand in the glove, excuse me. So yeah, you're looking at about an inch of padding, and then you're looking at about an inch on the back of the wrist. So you have a lot of padding on both the back and on the inside of the wrist. The grip bar on here is large and firm. One thing that's a big difference between this and the GLEZ is this glove has 0 ventilated holes on either the grip bar or on the inside of the thumb. So that's the one key difference. You do have the split white and purple thumb, and you also do have a white attached thumb right there. But everything else looks pretty similar in terms of the design. All right, let me go ahead and put my hand in the gloves. Loosen up the laces. That's one thing, you'll just kind of get these loosed. Oh, you can really slide my hand in here and feel it out. Oh, and before I forget, same liner, just your standard polyester satin liner on the inside. So nothing too crazy there. All right, let me go ahead and slide my hand into the glove. So first things first, the thumb position definitely feels a little more awkward than the GLEZ. A little bit more turned out. Feels a little bit on the short side. And again, the same thing with this glove, a tight thumb piping at the base of the thumb, which was a little bit larger. It definitely feels softer, like a more of a puncher style glove. And it has a little bit more flexibility and more of a broken in feel when I put my hand in it compared to the GLEZ. I feel like the GLEZ feels a little bit stiffer, not by much, but it's definitely a little bit stiffer than these Casanova Premiums, where I feel like I can open and close my hand with a little bit more ease. The other thing I noticed with these gloves is there definitely has a deeper and more room. It's a deeper finger compartment and a little bit more room in the hand compartment, but definitely deeper. So in terms of being able to position your hand a little bit deeper in the hand compartment, these remind me of more of that traditional Casanova shape, for those of you that have a pair of those. There is a felt liner on the inside part of the white portion of the thumb. There is no felt liner, unlike the GLEZ, in the finger compartment. So you have your grip bar, but down here you can definitely feel the seam where the leather meets the liner, and there's no actual liner that covers it up, no kind of felt or neoprene, nothing there. So your finger just drops down into that and you can feel the stitching. But definitely has a shorter cuff. So for those of you that prefer a shorter cuff, you'll probably prefer these more in terms of just cuff length compared to the GLEZ, which I feel is definitely on the longer side. But I definitely prefer, just right off the bat, the thumb on the GLEZ compared to these Casanovas. So that's where I think the key differences are. Padding on here, again, which I'll discuss over with the GLEZ, is definitely on the softer side. You know, to me, this is the type of padding that you're going to be able to really feel your shots come through. It's not like a horsehair glove in that respect, but it's definitely like a softer latex foam. So definitely better for feedback and pop for those of you that prefer that. The GLEZ, putting my hand over that, definitely is more firm. So putting your hand over the foam padding on here has a much more firm feel to it. It's not rock solid by any means, but definitely the foam on here is definitely more on the firm side. Probably better for shock absorption compared to the Casanova. Let me put the right glove on of the Casanova, that way you guys can see it for yourself. Kind of a comparison. So again, just a shorter cuff on the Casanova. I definitely prefer the thumb on the GLEZ, but you can see just the Casanova does have a deeper finger compartment with a shorter cuff, slightly awkward thumb. Both wrist supports are pretty much comparable and the same. They feel good in that regard. I do like the fact that the GLEZ has that felt liner. It just feels a little bit more luxurious on the inside of the hand compartment than the Casanova. I do prefer the depth of the Casanova finger compartment over the GLEZ. And then obviously lastly is going to be how the foam feels when I start using these in training. I don't know that yet, how that's going to pan out. Obviously when I start training with these gloves and I do a review, I'll let you guys know. But from how it sits right now, me personally, I kind of prefer the GLEZ over these Casanova premiums. Not by much. There are some things I like about both gloves. I wish I could take both and kind of combine them into one glove and you have the best of both worlds. But I think the big thing that both gloves, initially I feel that could be an issue is gonna just be that thumb on both of them. Feels really tight at the base, so I'm kind of concerned about that. But definitely looking forward to putting these to good use in training and eventually giving you guys a review on both of these gloves. Even at the price point that they're coming in at, I think that's definitely a great deal. They're getting these beautiful Mexican-made gloves. And essentially they're a boutique brand, right? You can get these gloves really in any color and style that you want and really make them your own. So if you guys have any questions or comments, you guys know, do put them down below. I'll put the link in the description box where you can purchase these Deportis Casanova and GLEZ Mexican-made boxing gloves. See you guys later. Peace.